Hey everyone, and welcome to the channel, and welcome to our first full-length video. Ooh. Bang bang. Today I figured we'd be talking about the pros and cons of owning a revolver versus a slide action for your everyday carry. A good pro to start off with revolvers is just the sheer variety of revolvers, like this Colt 38 Special, Dan Wesson 357 Magnum, this Heritage Rough Rider 22 with interchangeable cylinder from 22 to 22 Magnum, or even something like this Charge Judge chambered in 45 Long Colt 410 shotgun. This one in particular can go up to 3-inch 410. Something that I think is a little bit ridiculous, but I absolutely love it just because of how crazy and cool it is. It's this Bond Arms Derringer that is also chambered in 45 Long Colt 410 shotgun shells, but this one only does 2.5-inch shells. But I just think it's neat just because it's something small, and I think that most people consider them revolvers, but it's something small, nice and easy to conceal, hard and awful to aim with. But that being said, probably the main pro I can think of when it comes to slide action pistols is magazine capacity. This is a magazine for Taurus G2C, and it holds 12 rounds by itself, not even one in the chamber, which is already double the capacity for most revolvers. But the variety for revolvers doesn't just end at the different types. It's the different types of rounds that go in them, as I listed through all the revolvers that have their different calibers when I introduced them. Everything that you can find for any kind of caliber, pistol caliber that is, you can find a revolver for, even the ones that go into the slide actions. That being said, slide actions are more popular, and they do have the most popular cartridge there is for any kind of handgun. Another good pro for revolvers is their reliability. Because the revolver frame has proven to be so reliable with whatever they put in there, you get things that are just plain wacky, like the Smith & Wesson 500. That cartridge is about as long as my finger, if I'm saying right. I don't know. I haven't had one. I haven't owned one or even seen one myself. But it's a big, beefy, ridiculous cartridge. And this Taurus Judge being on the one of the more ridiculous ends of the spectrum I own, 45 Colt hits pretty good. But 357 Magnum is known as a bear hunting round for the fact that it has so much power behind the bullet, and when paired with a, we'll say, fun-sized barrel length, adds in for good velocity and great fun in shooting, good power. As opposed to slide action pistols sometimes have a problem with, yoo-hoo, big summer blowout. This is a malfunction known as stovepiping, and it can happen with most, if not any, of your slide action firearms, even if it's not a G2C. That if you feed the wrong type of ammunition, like if you get some hand pressed, or if you buy the shorter rounds. This is the only time I've ever had a stovepipe happen in this particular G2C is when I bought some 9mm SIG as opposed to 9mm Luger, and the shorter brass just didn't cycle right and allowed it to get stuck in there about every time I shot it. But another pro with slide action revolver, or not slide action revolvers, if I can figure out how to edit, this won't be in there, but if I don't, then just nice little blooper for y'all. A pro on the slide action side of firearms is that by the time, if you're in a shootout and a revolver shoots their 6 shots and you got at least another 2 in your 1911, you can reload and dump another 8 rounds out of it before they even reload their revolver. Another thing I like that I don't necessarily think about a whole lot is prestige. Like, as if somebody showing off their guns, or guns had personality, somebody would walk up and be like, "Hey kid, I won the West." While somebody with a 1911 will walk up and say, "2 world wars." Yeah, but what about 2 world wars? Yeah, communist. But all of that never made much sense to me. It's always been about what I'm comfortable carrying, what I'm comfortable shooting, what I prefer. You might be able to tell from my shorts and my videos what I clearly had more of, but most of them were either given to me or passed down, inherited from other members of my family. The 2 slide actions I have, I actually bought myself because I wanted some slide actions. And again, there's no shame. There's no shame in not shooting a Glock or a Colt over a Taurus or a Rock Island, whatever there is for you to be able to get and what you're comfortable with. That's the important part. Like, say you want something super small, something that you can easily conceal and carry in your pocket. I wouldn't recommend a lot of stuff, because then you're looking at those credit card folding 22 breech load pistols or those pocket 22 revolvers that don't have any kind of external safeties or even trigger guard for the pocket revolvers. I just don't feel that those are safe. But even then, most revolvers don't have any kind of external safeties whatsoever. The closest thing they get to it is that there's, if I can angle it into the light, there is a bar that comes down, up or down on something like this judge, that's, if the hammer was pulled back, and if this hammer was to drop without me squeezing the trigger, that bar stays in place and stops the hammer from striking the firing pin and preventing the firearm from going off. At the end of this day, I am just here to try and talk somebody into not necessarily buying a firearm for their self-defense, but trying to talk to them to, you don't have to spend crazy amounts of money for whatever firearm. You just need to do some research, pick out what caliber you might want to carry, and whether you might want to go with something a bit more modern or a bit more classic. At the end of the day, there are a lot of options for either type of firearm where you can get them below $300. Not going to say that they're necessarily good or the best. Some of them don't carry the best reputations. But if you do your research and you practice with it before you start carrying it, you can find out for yourself whether or not you like that firearm. But that's all I can think about to talk about in this video before I start rambling. So this will be it for this. Next video, I'll either do something about talking about picking out your cartridge that you would like to shoot, or accessories. I'll do a poll maybe. But until then, see y'all next time. Y'all stay safe.